If you are a fan of softball, you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. From softballjunk.com, we're bringing you more softball than anyone on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Welcome to the Fastpitch TV show. On today's show, we have Carol Bruggeman from the NFCA to tell us a lot of exciting stuff about the upcoming convention and the NFCA in general. Carol, welcome to the show. I'm sure this is your first blab.
This is my first blab. Thank you for the invitation, Gary. I'm very impressed with this new app so far and can't wait to see all the wonderful things that it can do for the NFCA as well as really the whole world. Thanks for the invitation to be here this week.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm glad to have you on the show. I plan on doing a lot with this at the convention, to be honest with you, a lot of live stuff with this. So we'll see how that goes. But first of all, before we get into anything, I want to make sure everybody knows what the NFCA, the National Fastpitch Coaches Association, actually is. In case there's someone out there who's been living in a cave, or maybe they're new to Fastpitch, you know, they got like an 8 and under kid or a 10 and under. Let's tell them what this is.
Well, the National Fastpitch Coaches Association is what the NFCA stands for. And you're absolutely right, Gary. Anybody who loves fast-pitch softball should absolutely be a part of our association because we do so many things for the coach. Our purpose is to support fast-pitch coaches to advance the sport we love. And we try to do everything we can to make that happen. We offer various awards for different win plateaus and coaching staffs of the year, those sorts of things. We have tons of educational items like our coaches clinic and coaching tools package for the high school youth coaches. And most importantly, our annual convention, which I know we're going to get into and talk about a little bit more. But our goal is to be a one-stop shop for all things fast-pitch softball. So if you're a fast-pitch softball coach out there, you need to belong to our organization because we are here to help you with practice plans. We're here to help you with educational opportunities, events, media, publications. We put out publications called the Fast Pitch Delivery, as well as Fast Pitch Connected every week to keep you informed of everything that's going on. But probably our Super Bowl, though, Gary, and really the reason we're on this blab today is to talk about our annual event, which we host anywhere from 1,300 to 1,500 members and well over 200 exhibitors at what we think is the greatest softball show on earth, and that is our annual convention.
Yes, which is coming up very soon. But before we go to that, I want to talk about the price of this association to be a member. I mean, this has got to be, as far as being a travel ball coach, because that's what I was, so I know that end of it. I don't know as far as being D1 or D2, but I can tell you from a travel ball aspect, this is like the most affordable thing in the world for what you get.
There's no question. I mean, we have a $70 membership for our high school and travel ball coaches, and the assistant coaches are even less than that. If you're an assistant coach, your membership is less than that, and you get the entire year. I mean, $70 is a night out with your friends for a nice dinner, and for the entire year, you receive 12 publications called Fast Pitch Delivery, which talks about all things softball. You receive weekly emails called Fast Pitch Connected, which talks about all things softball. But most importantly, for the high school travel ball coaches, as you were, Gary, for $70, we now have partnered with Softball Excellence, and you receive every year you're going to receive a practice package. We call it the coaching tools. And the coaching tools package includes 9 practice plans. It includes an ebook of hitting drills. It includes an effective team practice package. So just the $70 alone to receive that information, which is a part of your membership, is worth the $70. And on top of that, you receive discounted pricing for our coaches clinics, our National Fast Pitch Coaches College courses, which are advanced classes. If you're a coach who's been out there a while and you don't want to go to the basic clinic where you get an hour on hitting and an hour on pitching, an hour on base running, we offer more extensive classes called, advanced analysis of hitting and pitching, or offensive strategies, or dynamic team practices, a class that I'm going to be a part of with Cindy Bristow and Carol Hutchins at our convention in Atlanta coming up in a few weeks. So you get discounted prices on all our events and our camps. We have camps all summer for coaches, players, but probably most importantly is the opportunity for coaches also to have their players be named All-Americans. And if you're a member, we host All-Americans at all our division levels, so your players can be recognized as well. So you're absolutely right. I can't think of a better bargain if you're a fast pitch softball coach. I mean, A bat costs $300. A glove costs $250 to $300. And yet you can have a membership to our association and receive really anything that's going to benefit you as a fast pitch softball coach for well less than $100.
Yeah, it's the bargain of this for softball coaches when it comes to getting stuff for your team. This is the bargain of the century to me. This is something I've been a member of for 15 years, I bet 16 years now, and this is a great association. Now let's go to the big upcoming event, which I love every year, and I know there's a lot of people who look forward to this event, the NFCA Convention, which this year's in Atlanta. Which is, I don't think it's been in Atlanta before, has it?
I don't believe so. If it has, it was before my time. This will be our 32nd or 33rd overall convention. I've been to over 25 of them, Gary, so I've been a member a long time as well. And we move it around the country, as you know, but it is in Atlanta coming up the first week.
Well, let's talk about that. What could someone expect to find at the convention? What is the NFCA Coaches Convention, I guess?
The NFCA Coaches Convention, I have our handy-dandy program here, and for everybody out there, you can see our theme is Fill Your Bucket because, let me get this right up here, there's our bucket full of peaches with our NFCA
Georgia
logo.
Peach.
The peaches looking like softballs. Yeah, we're trying to go with the theme, which when you think of Georgia, you think of peaches, and we certainly will have lots of peach cobbler for you, all those people that are attending. But you know, our theme, we try to go with the theme of the location we are in. Every 4 years, we do go to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas conventions are our highest attended conventions. Take that for what it's worth. People love going to Las Vegas. They get a little softball. They get a lot of Vegas. But other than that, we move it around the country. We try to go East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, East Coast, Mid. So now we're on the East Coast, and that's why we're in Atlanta. And what I like most about Atlanta is it's so drivable for so many of our coaches, not only our college coaches, which we always get great attendance at our convention from the college coaches, but Atlanta is so drivable from so many states that we know, and we already have seen with our pre-registration, a lot of high school and travel ball and youth coaches, it's very affordable for them to drive into Atlanta. So we offered a surrounding state special this year from September 1st to November 1st. Anyone who lived in a state of Georgia or surrounding state got a huge discount off their registration price. And we know a lot of our members and non-members who are now our members took advantage of that. So, but what it is, Gary, is the greatest softball show on earth. We have an exhibit show on Thursday and Friday, and it is completely sold out. It was sold out almost a month ago. So we have had huge demand for the exhibitors want to get in front of the softball coaches and talk about the latest and greatest equipment, technology, anything that's going to help a coach be better at their game. So our exhibit show is sold out. So a lot of people come and just to see the latest and greatest with exhibits. We also offer a lot of education. We have a huge softball clinic on Friday and Saturday. So we have a lot of coaches from Division I, Division II, Division III, NAI, junior college, as well as outside people like a strength and conditioning expert, a lawyer, a vision training expert. We try to bring in a lot of great coaches and a lot of great outside people to educate our coaches so they can take that back with them and help them during their season. So we have a huge clinic portion. And the other part of our convention, which is probably the most important part for a lot of people, is it brings all these people who are passionate about fast pitch softball together in one place for a week. And there are a ton of networking opportunities. We have the mentoring session, which is a very well-received session where our experienced coaches spend some one-on-one time and group time with our inexperienced coaches and share information. You know, that's the one thing we hear all the time, Gary, when I talk to a lot of other people out there who coach other sports or who now are executive directors of other sports. And they say, your softball coaches are so connected. They work together so well. They seem to get along so well off the field, even though they're very competitive on the field. And I think our convention, Gary, has a lot to do with that. It comes at a great time of year for our coaches. They're not in heavy recruiting season in December. As a matter of fact, it's a dead period. They haven't started their seasons yet, so everybody's very hopeful and looking forward to their season. And so people are really there to have a good time, to share information, to educate themselves, to network. And a lot of our sponsors put on some big parties in the evenings. We have several of those planned this year as well. And so it's just a really good time for softball coaches who are passionate about the sport to get together, look at the exhibit show, be educated, and also create change. We have various meetings and caucuses where people get together and talk about growing the sport and changing the sport. The convention is the format where we actually changed the ball several years ago. We went from the white traditional softball to the yellow optic softball in college. I mean, our convention is where those ideas were generated and then ultimately put forth to the NCAA, et cetera. So we like to think of it as the greatest softball show on earth. I guess if you're a Fastpitch softball coach or you're a Fastpitch softball coach, Fastpitch softball supporter or exhibitor, or someone like you, Gary, who's so involved in the media and the exposure of the sport, you need to be in Atlanta December 2nd through the 5th. We have some events pre and post convention as well, but that's the main time for our convention. So we certainly hope to see.
But I think you've also forgot to tell everybody, I mean, unless I just missed it, and unless I zoned out for a second, which I could have, because you gave us a lot of info there. Did you mention the Hall of Fame banquet, which I always think is just a great event because it actually helps educate you on the history of Fastpitch, which I've said for years, there is no history in Fastpitch softball. And I think that needs to be developed so badly. Everybody knows who Mickey Mantle is. I bet most of the kids now don't even know who Lisa Fernandez was anymore, just except that she's the coach at UCLA, because of the history factor. So that's what I think is so great about the banquet.
And I agree, Gary. And I'm going to name you chair of the history committee coming up soon. But we do need that. And our goal here at NFCA National Headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky, is to build a Hall of Fame, is to have a permanent Hall of Fame and a permanent historic viewpoint of Fastpitch softball. So our goal, certainly as an association, is to help make that happen. But you're absolutely right. Probably the most exciting and most appreciated event is the NFCA Hall of Fame. If I always tell, the young coaches I used to work with or anyone I talk to about the convention, if you miss the Hall of Fame, you really haven't attended the convention, because I couldn't agree with you more. When you go to the Hall of Fame, where our brightest and best are inducted and enshrined, the first year we had the Hall of Fame was 1994. So we've had it about 20 years now. And it's really honoring our people who not only have been successful on the field as coaches or as service members or founders or pioneers, have not, people who've really impacted the game on the field. They've also impacted the game off the field by their service to the NFCA or to the sport of softball. And it's a very competitive process, as it should be, to get in our Hall of Fame. But when you go to the Hall of Fame banquet, you leave there and you will run your gamut of emotions, as you know too well. You will cry, you will laugh, you will appreciate the history of the sport. You'll hear some stories that, will blow some young people away today. So there's no question that the Hall of Fame is a must-attend event. This year's inductees are Joe Evans,
great,
and Clint Myers from the Division I level, and Anita Kubica from the Division III level. But all coaches from all levels are eligible, and there's a huge process to go through, and it's a very selective process. So congratulations to those three. We look forward to welcoming them into our Hall of Fame. But it's a dressy affair. It's a chance to dress up and celebrate. And you're absolutely right. You just appreciate the history of the game. And more importantly, you really get to feel all of your emotions when you're there, because as a coach, it is a very emotional profession, and you will feel all of those things at the Hall of Fame banquet, which is on Friday night of the convention.
Speaking of, you will laugh. 2 years ago when Joan Joyce went through there, that was the funniest. Not that Joan's funny, just she was funny, though. I mean, I have not laughed that much at a convention in a long time, listening to her and her the person who introduced her talking about Joan.
There's no question. Joan Joyce is special for so many reasons, and she's one of those all-time great players that a lot of our young players today probably wouldn't know Joan. We do need
perfect example.
She's one of the best players to ever play the game, and now one of the best coaches. And you're absolutely right. No one will forget her Hall of Fame speech. As a matter of fact, Larissa Anderson and Bill Edwards from Hofstra created the Joan Joyce account. I can't remember the name of it, but they created their own Twitter account because we learned so many things about Joan Joyce. She's a professional golfer and she's just good at everything. So this Twitter account was alluding to that Joan was good at everything, and it was quite entertaining. So. But the Hall of Fame is a fantastic event, as are a lot of our events. We have the Easton Victory Club luncheon, where we honor our coaches who reach coaching milestones of 100 wins, every 100 wins. And we have our Coaching Staff of the Year brunch, where we honor our regional and national coaching staffs of the year. So it's really one big celebration of softball in so many different ways, whether it's through education in the clinic or the awards banquets or the Hall of Fame, which is the ultimate, or the business meetings where we're actually affecting change in the sport, recruiting calendars and rules and things like that. It's again, it's all things fast pitch softball, and we're just happy as an association to provide the forum for all those passionate coaches and exhibitors to get together.
I think that if you're a coach, and especially if you're a coach of a young team, if you start spending the time to go to this convention, just from, I'm not even going to say from the learning aspect, I'm not going to say from what you'll learn from people telling you about their products at the product show, or what other coaches will teach you, or what you'll see in seminars. If you just even hung out in the hallways until your kids were college age, you would know so many people you would have relationships with in the college softball recruiting that you actually could probably have a much better chance of finding schools for all your kids to go to, because over the years, they know who you are. They know about you personally. And when you call them, they're not going to go, oh, who is this bozo? They're going to go, oh, that's Joe. I see him every year. What's he want now? And you go, hey, I got this kid who's, 4.0, who's a great outfielder. They probably would listen to you. So I think just the networking by itself pays for it for a coach. And then everything else is just topping on the dessert. I mean, it's just piling over with topping. That's just my opinion of the NFCA.
You're absolutely right. The networking and the opportunity to all get together is by far it's priceless. It is worth the price of admission. Of course, you'll be able to be fed many nice meals and have access to a lot of other things. But you're right, that networking piece, and that is what makes softball great. Is you can have a Division I coach talking to a high school coach, a junior college coach talking to a Division III coach, and friends for life, colleagues for life, travel ball coaches, Division I coaches, in a totally different setting than at the field at a recruiting tournament event. So
you have Olympians walking around. How often you get to chat with Olympians, and ask them a question?
I've heard that so many times. And Joanna Lane, from the assistant coach from Central Michigan University, who is now on our executive board of directors, she wrote an article for our fast pitch delivery, and then we put it on the website, and it was entitled, "Is This Seat Taken?" And it was an article about that needs to be the most important question you ask at the convention. Just going to all these events, and if you see an open seat, asking that question, is this seat taken? Because all of a sudden you're going to meet somebody new, and you're going to visit, and you're going to become very close colleagues. It's just the way it goes. And in our publication coming out in the next 2 weeks, it's actually our December edition, but it'll be coming out at the end of November. We had another coach write an article about the convention being the place where she got to do the electric slide last year at a Hall of Fame party with Carol Hutchins, and where she got to do the, sat down at breakfast at one of our continental breakfasts and sat down, and no one was sitting next to Coach Margot Yonker, the Hall of Famer from Central Michigan. They are fast and furious friends now. So that networking piece where you get coaches away from the field, get them away from a competitive environment. It's not about recruiting. It's not about competing. It's not about winning. It's about growing the sport. And there's no question you get to talk to the Olympians, the exhibitors, the successful coaches, young coaches coming up will get to meet all these people they've seen on TV or read about or heard about or played for. And, that probably is the number one piece. If you ask people, why do you go to the convention? It is all these other wonderful learning opportunities and awards celebration. But most importantly, it's the ability to connect with old friends and meet new friends.
I agree. Now, where can people go to find out about all this great stuff we've been talking about?
I believe you said you got a little bit disconnected. Where can they find out to register and that sort of thing? The best place
find out about the NFCA in general, register, everything we've been talking about.
Best place to go is our website, which is nfca.org, National Fast Pitch Coaches. So just go to nfca.org. You can find all the convention information on that website. You certainly can find out all the benefits of every level of membership. And certainly you can call, call our offices as well at 502-409-4600 and one of our staff members be able to help you. But really our website's the best place to go. You will find information on some high school coaches association sites who've helped promote it, softball excellence. There's all kinds of places where you can find bits and pieces, but the best place is just to go to our website, nfca.org.
Now, I got a question for you. This is just a personal question I've had. Okay. Since y'all are the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, and you have almost every major coach in there, and that's the deal. Why don't y'all petition the NCAA to call that the Women's Fast Pitch World Series instead of softball? I always think of men's slow pitch softball when I think of softball. I don't think of fast pitch. I think of fast pitch and softball. I really don't think of fast pitch in the term of fast pitch softball. So that's my suggestion is let's get this changed to the Women's Fast Pitch World Series.
Well, the NCAA would tell you there's no slow pitch championship, so that's why we just call it softball, because everyone knows it's fast pitch softball. That's what the NCAA would say. We don't have a counterpart with the NCAA to have a slow pitch national championship. So when we say softball, they are thinking fast pitch. But I couldn't agree with you more. There's so many ways to play softball. Fast pitch, slow pitch, modified pitch, boys, girls,
16-inch.
Yes, it's what makes the sport great. But and in terms of what the NCAA calls our national championship, the College World Series is for baseball, and so we are the Women's College World Series. Some of our coaches out there want to just call it the College World Series as well, and know people can see that it's softball. So this is what makes the convention great. Is we have these types of conversations, we have these types of debate. People can share their opinions and et cetera, et cetera. But this is about fast pitch softball. We do have some people come who just love the game enough, slow pitch, and they want to come and just be a part of it because they love softball. But this really is for fast pitch softball, which is really the area of the game where there are college scholarships for young women, and the area of the game that is growing at a very fast pace, and certainly with the exposure of television and the building of stadiums and those sorts of things. It's just been great.
Well, Carol, I want to thank you. I know you have a ton of stuff to do with this coming around the corner here, so I'm not going to hog up all your time. But I do want to thank you for coming on and telling our listeners about the NFCA and what it offers them and about the convention, because like I said, I'm just a big proponent of this. I think this is a great resource. And that if I can ever do anything to help you, you just need to let me know. But thank you for taking the time with us today. And is there anything you want to leave, any last comment or anything you want to leave with our listeners?
Well, I just want to thank you, Gary, for my first experience on Blab. I've absolutely loved it. And I just want to thank you for all the exposure that you give fast pitch softball, not just with the NFCA, but just across the country and across the world. You're very good at what you do. But mainly I want to tell everyone I'll see you in Atlanta, and we'll be filling our bucket. Fill your bucket in Atlanta. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's at nfca.org. So make sure you visit that website. Even if you can't go to Atlanta, go to that website, look at the membership choices, and see what they have to offer. I promise you, it's going to be worth your money. I promise you, as someone who's been doing it a long time. And if I'm wrong, you can call me up on my phone and yell at me, listeners, because I'll be right. Carol, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to SoftballJunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket. This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all of our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv